Clerk.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise today to congratulate His Majesty King Charles III on his coronation. Whether one is a Republican or a monarchist, and for the record I am a devoted Republican, I believe it's important to give praise where it is due and to recognise the institutions of government that have allowed this great country of Australia to achieve what it has. I will, though, pause to recognise that not all of us will celebrate this coronation, that some will feel the monarchy has let them down and adversely impacted on them. However, this is not a time to argue one way or the other, it's a time to pay our respects. And in doing so, I must praise the extraordinary life of King Charles's mother, Queen Elizabeth II, for all the trials and tribulations she suffered through her long life. Her devotion to her country and the Commonwealth never wavered, and we are a better nation for that. As USA House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said at the time of Her Majesty's passing, under history's brightest spotlight, Queen Elizabeth offered a masterclass in grace and strength, power and poise. Her extraordinary life and leadership will continue to inspire young women and girls in public service now and for generations to come. King Charles was there throughout his mother's long reign and is certain to have learned much from it. However, I expect his time on the throne to have a different focus. He will reign over a country and a Commonwealth which are much more diverse than that inherited by his mother. And given the way His Majesty has conducted himself to date, I anticipate that he will look to reach out more to a multicultural and multi-faith society. My hope is that he can act as a unifying force, making more visible efforts for the Crown to connect with ethnic minorities and disadvantaged groups in particular. King Charles will become head of state of 15 countries, and no doubt some of these, including Australia, could become republics while staying as Commonwealth members. I understand King Charles has already made clear he's ready for grown-up conversations about change. I also see His Majesty continuing his involvement with issues such as climate change and organic farming, passions that he has sometimes been ridiculed or at least satirised for over the years. But the world has finally caught up, and I note that this was a clear theme in the coronation concert, and it was acknowledged by Prince William himself in his speech. As an observer in faraway Tasmania, I consider King Charles to be a fundamentally good person. I believe he does care for people and wants to do all he can to make this world better. Yes, I do agree with those close to him that deep down he's a rather shy, reserved person. A sensitive soul is one description. But we could do with more sensitive souls in this world. Before I conclude, Mr Speaker, I want to briefly mention the littlest royals, Prince George, Prince Charlotte and the cheeky 5-year-old Prince Louis, and express my admiration for the way they conducted themselves on the weekend of celebrations. I have thoroughly enjoyed, as I'm sure many have, watching highlights of celebrations which feature the children. Despite their status, they fidgeted, held hands, yawned, pulled funny faces, sang along to Katy Perry and annoyed each other just like any other children would do. However, I can only imagine how overwhelming the pomp and ceremony was, and particularly for young Prince George, how weighty the burden and indeed enormous privilege his birthright must seem. Yet these children brought what I felt was a realness and a grounding to the coronation. Is this realness which I think will place the future of the monarchy in good stead for generations to come, and they will have shining examples of service in their grandfather King Charles. To His Majesty King Charles III, on the occasion of your coronation, I wish to extend my congratulations and best wishes for yourself and your family. Thank you, Mr Speaker.